have a question about death. I've had this like paralyzing fear of death since I found out about my father's death when I was quite young. And so I was like exposed to the idea of death very young without any like religious foundation, and I couldn't conceptualize what that meant. And so the only thing that I ever sort of, my belief around death was like it was similar to sleep, like there's just nothing. And so like I've, spent all of these years now growing up living in this fear that, I must be doing the best that I can and doing as much as I can because, my time is running out. And there's always just this like element to every experience that I have that's like hanging over it. And so that makes me feel more attached to everything in my life. And death is just it's just terrifying. Like that, you're so used to this life and this experience and this body and these thoughts and these ideas that, like, without them, like you've never had to exist without them. So the thought of them not being there anymore is, terrifying.
Frightening, yes. But if I was to ask you, do you experience any time right now? So if you were to close your eyes and just try to feel, is there any time that appears in your experience?
No, I guess not.
Do you?
Because there only ever is like the moment that you're in.
Yes. So when does time appear?
I guess like only conceptually, only in the mind.
So you have to think that you're running out of time to actually have the impression that you experience time. So death, from what you're describing, is associated with time. Just you're getting nearer and nearer to death. So you try to keep hold of your dear ones and what you like and so on and so forth. But notice that it is only when you think about it, so on a conceptual level, that this fear appears. And if your father passed away when you were young, then this fear got maybe very deep roots as you rehearsed these thoughts that said that I'm running out of time, or I must do something not to go through the same experience, or death is awful, and so on and so forth. So notice when time comes into your experience, and see how that shapes the way you view your experience, what beliefs it creates at that moment. Simply notice that, and it will be enough not to allow it to steal your real time. And That would be one thing I would like to say. And then secondly, there is a lot of prejudices when it comes to death. Of course we fear the pain that is associated with death, everything that we can go through as we are dying, perhaps an illness or an accident or any injury. So that is frightening because it's very painful. But the actual dying itself is a fear of being nothing, or a fear of not being anymore. We have in our everyday experience, in our everyday life, we have a similar experience. When we go to bed, we stop being, if you like. So there is no mind and body. There is just awareness, not being aware of any objects. So it's a little death that we experience every night. If that would be frightening, just like Rupert says, we wouldn't go to sleep. We would be fearful about falling asleep.
That was my experience for a lot of years. I developed like really bad insomnia because that time period where you're lying down and then you start to fall asleep, but you're not really sure how it happens, and then as you're falling asleep you catch yourself and you don't want to fall into that nothingness. Like, that's scary, and that was what happened for a long time, and it was just uncomfortable, you know. And then I would wake up in the morning and I was just sort of like almost confused.
But it's almost the same experience if we really think about it. When we admire a beautiful sunshine, or when we admire a piece of art, there is this admiration that we are experiencing, this almost nothingness. Our minds are quiet, and perhaps we're not having any bodily sensations. So, like right now in this moment, you're just listening. You're just listening to my voice. There's no knowledge of you being something. You have to direct your attention towards your mind and the body to assure yourself, that I'm still here. But actually, it's enough to notice awareness. You're aware of listening to my voice. And there's no knowledge of being a person. There's no knowledge of having a name, a gender, nothing. There is just listening. So is this nothingness, if you like, or emptiness that we are. And this emptiness or awareness doesn't come and go. Was there ever a moment when you appeared and disappeared? Or was always your awareness, your experience continuous?
Yeah, it's continuous.
Even when you fall asleep at night, it's not that you die as who you are and then you wake up a different person. You are still the same. It's just that during sleep there's no objects to be aware of. So you're continuous. So if your experience is of always being, then why fear that when you die you won't be anymore. If there's no proof, that suggests that that might be true. So from what you said, there's always a continuity, and this continuity is always happening in this moment. You said that there's just this moment. So there's just this moment when you are, and another moment, and another moment, where you don't appear or disappear. So in other words, you always are. So I would suggest to notice when this fear comes and to check your experience. I am here. There is this moment. So you can do that by feeling rather than thinking that, oh, I'm here, there's just this moment, let's live life. That's not what I mean. I mean really feeling that you are there and that you are aware, and that is your only experience. And this fear can tell you many things, but you know what's your experience, your real experience.